Okay, let's dive right into this. Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're unpacking the absolute evolution of a cinematic legend. We're talking about Jackie Chan, but specifically, we are looking at how he completely, and I mean completely, revolutionized martial arts on screen. We're going to explore how he broke out of the rigid molds of traditional kung fu and created this entirely unique blend of jaw-dropping slapstick comedy mixed with some of the most insanely dangerous, death-defying stunts ever committed to film. If you think you already know Jackie Chan's style, prepare to see his mechanical genius in a whole new light.
To really understand this evolution, we kind of have to start with a massive, almost impossible problem that the Hong Kong film industry was facing in the 1970s. I mean, how do you follow the greatest martial arts star in history? Bruce Lee had just tragically passed away, and it left this colossal void in action cinema. Studios were basically panicking. They desperately needed a new hero to carry the torch. So they look at this young, highly trained but struggling stuntman named Chan Kong Song and think, hey, we can just make him the next Bruce Lee. But as we're about to see, trying to force Jackie Chan into Bruce Lee's shoes was a total recipe for disaster. The only way he could actually solve the problem of Bruce Lee's absence was to deliberately subvert every single expectation the audience had.
Which brings us to Section 1, In the Dragon's Shadow, the failed Next Little Dragon. So, early in his career, directors literally tried to shove Chan into the intense, rigid mold left behind by Lee. Director Lo Wei was so dead set on this that he actually gave Jackie the stage name Sing Long, which literally translates to Becoming the Dragon, for the 1976 film New Fist of Fury. But, well, you can probably guess what happened. It flopped. It completely failed at the box office because Chan just wasn't accustomed to Lee's fierce, flowing style. It wasn't him. You have to remember he was an operatically trained acrobat from the China Drama Academy, not this brooding avenger. Forcing him to mimic Bruce Lee was entirely stifling what he could actually do physically.
And that leads us to a massive turning point in Section 2, Birth of Comedic Kung Fu, the pivot to slapstick and vulnerability.
Things finally shifted when Chan was just allowed to be himself. Let's move to the timeline and see how this builds. In 1978, director Yuen Wu-ping did something pretty radical. He gave Chan complete freedom over his own stunt work. The result? Drunken Master. This movie skyrocketed him to mainstream success and officially put the comedic kung fu genre on the map. He wasn't playing an invincible god anymore. He was getting hit, he was showing pain, and using brilliant physical humor. Then, jump to 1983 with Project A. This is a huge deal because it's the official formation of the Jackie Chan stunt team. He started combining martial arts with slapstick and incredibly dangerous stunts, like actually free-falling from a clock tower through fabric canopies. By 1985, with Police Story, he drags this highly dangerous style into a modern urban setting, taking the extreme stunts to a level audiences had literally never seen before.
Which leads perfectly into Section 3, Pushing the Limits, the era of death-defying stunts.
Now, what's really interesting about this is just how far he pushed himself once that stunt team was formed. The 1980s basically became a playground for testing human endurance. Just look at this number, 2,900. During the early 80s, Jackie started going all in on highly elaborate, stunt-driven sequences. For his 1982 film Dragon Lord, there's a massive pyramid fight scene that actually holds the record for requiring 2,900 takes. Just let that sink in for a second. 2,900 takes for a single scene. He wasn't just doing basic choreography. He was orchestrating these massive, complex performances where the timing, the safety, and the comedic beats had to align flawlessly. It really shows his relentless perfectionism. He was going to get the shot exactly right, no matter how grueling it was.
And then, of course, there's the legendary 1985 film Police Story. His stunt crew actually nicknamed this movie Glass Story because they smashed a staggering amount of sugar glass during the climactic shopping mall fight. But that scene is famous for a much more visceral, terrifying reason. For the final stunt, Chan had to jump onto a metal pole covered in decorative lights and slide down several stories, crashing through panes of glass. What the audience didn't know at the time was that those decorative lights had heated the pole up considerably. Chan suffered second-degree burns on his hands on the way down, and then suffered a back injury and a dislocated pelvis when he hit the ground hard.
I mean, looking at this list, it reads like a medical textbook, right? But this is his actual legacy of injuries, sustained directly for our entertainment. He came incredibly close to death filming Armor of God when he missed the jump, fell from a tree, and literally fractured his skull. Over the years, he's dislocated his pelvis, broken his nose, both cheekbones, fingers, toes, ribs, ankles, sternum, you name it. The sheer, terrifying danger of his practical stunt work is just completely unmatched. In fact, he officially holds a Guinness World Record for the most stunts by a living actor. Because of this insane dedication to doing things for real and taking the hits himself, he is notoriously difficult to insure, especially on US film productions where they really try to restrict his stunt work with legal contracts.
Section 4. The Everyman Persona, Crafting the Ultimate Antihero. So Chan didn't just change the action, he fundamentally rewired the archetype of the modern action star, and this brilliantly illustrates his calculated approach to character creation. He purposely designed his on-screen persona to be the exact opposite of the countless Bruce Lee imitators out there. Where Bruce Lee played this stern, morally upright, almost godlike hero with loose flowing movements and wide, confident stances, Jackie Chan did the exact reverse. He plays the slightly foolish, well-meaning everyman who is constantly vulnerable and scrambling to survive. He holds his arms tight to his body, his movements are choppy and defensive. He wins, sure, but rarely smoothly and always struggling against the odds. And that's the genius of it. It makes his characters incredibly relatable, deeply human, and just highly entertaining to root for.
Moving to our final section, a global action legacy, the master of physical comedy.
Jackie Chan's impact goes way beyond just being a brave guy who can take a punch. His influence stretches across all of global cinema. Renowned filmmakers absolutely revere the guy. When presenting Chan with a Lifetime Achievement Award, Quentin Tarantino literally called him one of the greatest physical comedians since sound came into film. British filmmaker Edgar Wright talks about this too, praising his expressive visual performance and pointing out how Chan's lovable goofball persona sets him starkly apart from the stoic, muscle-bound heroes of the 80s like Stallone or Schwarzenegger. Chan's ability to blend superhuman acrobatics with this Buster Keaton-style physical comedy, that is entirely his own invention.
So, the crucial point here is that his legacy isn't contained just to his own movies. His DNA is deeply embedded in modern blockbusters. Just look at this list. These are massive global films directly influenced by his action choreography and that signature environmental fighting style. You know, that brilliant concept where anything in the room, a ladder, a chair, an umbrella, instantly becomes a weapon or a shield. We see his distinct influence in everything from The Matrix and Kill Bill, which, fun fact, were choreographed by his former colleague Yuen Woo-ping, to modern mega-hits like John Wick, Black Panther, and Shang-Chi. Even the Kung Fu Panda series, where he naturally lends his voice to Master Monkey. The way action is shot, framed, and choreographed today owes a massive debt to the risks Jackie Chan took decades ago.
So, we've seen how a struggling stuntman reinvented an entire genre, literally risking life and limb to create a totally new language of action cinema, based on humor, vulnerability, and unbelievable practical stunts. I want to leave you with this thought. Next time you're watching a movie and you see a modern action hero creatively using their environment to survive a massive fight scene, ask yourself, are they just borrowing from Jackie Chan's playbook? Thanks for joining me on this explainer. Keep analyzing, keep exploring, and keep learning.